Just waiting for that last 3 seconds. All right, and we're online. Hey, hello, Internet. How's it going? Scuba and Ry here for another Tuesday night discussion.
Talking about things and everything in between. And maybe spitting some rhymes that combine in the time.
We'll see what beats we drop. So.
I drop beats. Corny and puns. Intended, people. Intended.
Oh, yes. Must be good with those.
Yes.
So, what's been going on, Ry?
What's been going on? Just lots of stuff going on at work. Lots of fun be happening at home and everywhere in between. Just,
oh, really?
Catching up on shows and doing a lot of other things. Went to IKEA over the weekend.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. That's always a fun adventure.
Yeah. That's definitely one way to put it.
Yeah. But yeah, just perusing because looking for a new couch.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Any particular one you're looking for?
Nothing that is specific on a certain thing, but there was a couple couches that we saw that caught our eye.
Oh,
so
really?
I'll check another couple furniture stores, and if I am sold on the one that we saw at IKEA, then that's the one I'll buy.
All right.
It's a corner couch.
A corner couch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's anything in particular about it?
It's a corner couch.
That's it?
It'll just the way we have.
I mean, does it have like extra storage inside of it? Does it have?
It gives enough seating room, especially with the new TV.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So this is your house. Okay.
Yes.
Gotta watch out for that forest, birds and stuff, you know. There we go. All right. So IKEA, couch shopping.
Couch shopping, caught up on some gameplay, went back and started playing some games, which we'll talk about later.
Games are always fun.
Movies, finally got to watch the last of the last film.
Yes, which we're going to talk about, so no need to try and spoil that.
And other than that, celebrated Sunday was National Pizza Day. So I went and got me a pizza. Yeah.
Wow, I missed National Pizza Day.
Yeah, lots of good discounts on pizza that day.
It's okay.
It's all right.
I'm trying to get off of the carb thing, you know.
Well, yeah, I understand, but I run every other day, so it just kind of equates. It's all right.
I will get there.
Yeah.
Me and the trainer talked, and it's like if I get under 300 pounds, then I can start doing the running thing, and so that's the goal. Yeah. Once I get some of the crazy out of the way, because been a hard time getting to the gym lately.
Oh yeah, it can be. It's all about finding the time, but it's going to the gym is my peace. It's my stress reliever. So when I hit the track and I run, I'm just in a nice peaceful zone.
And that is at the same rec center that we used to go to. That's got the upstairs track, or do you go somewhere else?
You're talking about Williams Farm.
Yeah, I think so.
But also Kempsville's rec center has a track too, so I go there a lot more than Williams Farm.
That's closer to your house, isn't it?
Williams Farm is.
Oh, Williams Farm's closer?
Yeah, but Kempsville has. I like the track.
That's right. Didn't they just rebuild that a couple years ago?
Yeah.
Cool.
It's like a figure eight. It's like a figure eight where the way it goes around the gym, but it's a fun track. And you have a good idea of how far you go because on the sign that tells you how many laps equal a mile. So you know exactly how far you go for in a mile, and then if you want to go more or less,
Sounds good.
But that's pretty much it. Other than that, just keep prepping for that test, that GRE test I need to take to get into grad school.
Yeah, I can't wait to see. It's like finally, it's like, all right, are we done? Did we pass it? Are we good?
I have no idea. Not till March 6th, people. That's when I'll take it. So, go to the library and study. But I also did finish up a book I was reading too.
Oh, really? What book?
It was a book. It's like a pseudo biopic, but it's called Last Interview with Anthony Bourdain. So it's a series of books and it focuses on different people. But what it does, it takes the interviews of the people and transcribes it into into the book, and you read it, and it just kind of links like a story between them, so you get an idea of a more intimate relationship to what the person is about.
Okay.
So this one is all the interviews leading up to his eventual passing.
Gotcha.
But it was a good read. It was a different kind of read because it's not a typical novel because you're reading interviews.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just seeing the back and forth and seeing just the raw detail of just somebody in conversation. It's very enlightening, but also at the same time it helps me being a writer. It gives me other different entails on how to write, what to write, and what to focus on writing.
That's probably one of the best things. You want to do story. You want to read stories that you're going to tell stories so that you get some ideas. I
did see another one of that series at Target that I might pick up. It's a last interview with Keanu Reeves. So I want to go ahead and pick it up. But the next book I'm going to read is another biopic. It's the Elton John biopic.
Last biopic I read was Killing Patton. I read that on Kindle a few years back. I found that was interesting. That was I can't remember the author's name, but I know he was a show host on Fox for a long time. I can't remember his name right now. It's escaping me.
It'll come back.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll come back.
But yeah, more to come with that biopic. It's a lot thicker book than the one I just finished, but I'll get through it.
All right. Let's see. Well, for me, I've been kind of back and forth on a few things.
Okay.
Big thing, and this is something to talk about, is last week after our show, one of our friends gave me some feedback on the show because he thought he would decided to check it out.
Okay.
And I really appreciate the feedback, and I've been starting to incorporate it. One of the things I did is I'm redoing our Facebook page for the studio. I'm gonna. The current one up there is going to be up there for a little while longer. I'm rebuilding it so that I can get some... Because one of his big comments was like brand consistency.
Okay.
Which is an interesting conversation. I had that conversation about a couple of different brands, but thinking about my brand and the studio, the show, whatever. And that when we first started, I mentioned I had all these little pieces all over the place, and that I hadn't really... And I just was kind of using them. Well, now it's like, all right, we've been doing this 34 times now.
Yeah.
I need to make this a little more consistent as I get into growing. I'm still waiting on some artwork. I commissioned some artworks and logos, so I'm waiting for the concepts to come back so I can go through that. I'm on pins and needles. I can't wait to see it. And so one of the things I did is I also went through the Twitch channel and the Mixer channel today and renamed them to Scuba Studio.
Okay.
So now it's kind of consistent across it. Scuba Studio, Scuba Studio, Scuba Studio.
Yeah.
The new Facebook page will be Scuba Studio. May do another page that's Scuba and Ry. That's more of a community focus.
Yeah.
Playing with the various templates, because I realize now that when we did the first one, it was just the marketplace one, like a storefront.
Mm-hmm.
They're not really a storefront per se. It's
not
something
really.
else. So I'm trying a different format, and I just got to work through that on top of everything else. So joys of being an amateur content studio.
That is a good thing.
It's like where I have time, I mess with this stuff.
But it's a good thing because the more feedback you get, the more you have things to think about.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It helps improve going forward.
Yes, and I even have some feedback, which was some of that feedback I incorporated in here. Like when we get to our closing, I actually have created little tags that have where to find us, the links or whatever, so people could jot that down and go to those sites if they wanted to find us. Hopefully, get a little more activity there. Oh, hi Saladin! Thanks for joining us, man. We missed you. But so it was going through all of that, and then another thing is started working on the prep work for a new D&D group.
There you go.
This is going to be the group this group is called No Quarter, and this group is going to start. We have our first session next Friday.
Okay.
And this will be a new group of players. It'll be a Friday night deal, and I'm actually going. I'm not hosting it here at the clubhouse.
Okay.
I'm actually going to one of their houses to do the DM stuff. So I'm looking forward to that. I think we might have a seat or two open. Still got to work those details out. But our first sessions are always, hi, how you doing? My name is Bob.
I'm Charlie.
Yes.
I'm Karen.
I'm a halfling rogue, or I'm a high elf rogue. It's like, okay, it's talking about the characters and kind of get that first, okay, welcome to the world, and let's see what you're going to do now. But I'm still working on the module build that I found in one of the old dungeon magazines. And I'm trying to work on getting maps and terrain built. Like there's a mansion I actually want to build, but I've been working on trying to get the images and get them to the right scale so that I could build it out and have it as there. So hopefully in the next few episodes, you'll start to see that getting constructed on a table in the background.
Somewhere behind here, people.
Yep. So we'll see if we can't sneak that in. And then other than that, it was more fun out on the airsoft field. This past weekend was kind of rough.
Rough. Well, definitely.
Well, rough in the sense that it was all that rain.
Yeah. That rain. Rain did some damage.
Well, here we go. Time for a story. Okay, so I go out to the field Saturday, and I go my normal route.
Yeah.
Well, I'm getting down the road, and this is on Bunch Walnuts on the way to Balhack Road. Mm-hmm. Well, I go down Bunch Walnuts, and it's like I start to run into puddles. I'm thinking, no biggie. Jeep, we'll travel. Yeah. I get through the first half of the puddles, and I get to the halfway point, which is this bridge. And then I look at the puddles going past, and and my confidence in driving through in driving through these puddles starts to wane. Now I realize I done screwed up. Okay. I was going too fast because my engine or my hood and all that was smoking. So I decided to play it safe and try to figure out another way to the field. Of course, keeping in mind, up until this point, I only know of one way to get to the field. Yeah. And that is via Bunch Walnuts. Okay. So as I pass, I come across one of the other guys who just bought a Jeep. So, hey, the Balhack Jeep community is definitely growing. Okay. And he shows me another way to the field. So I'm a little late getting there because of all the rain. Yeah. But the next day, going out there, and that road is closed. Bunch Walnuts actually has the sign spanning it going, high water, road closed.
Well, that really takes away from swimming in the water.
Yeah, and some of it you actually see the water it was really moving across the road. And it's like,
Yeah, maybe I should not.
Yeah, maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should, find another route just to play it safe. Just saying. And of course, this week is Valentine's week. So that's why we have our Valentine's picture up here tonight.
Hearts for you peoples.
Oh, yes. Because we love you.
Yes.
Anyways, actually going to try and do things for that, I guess. First time in a while. Going to go check out Farmhouse. That's what we were talking about.
Yeah. Hopefully we can try to get out there.
Well, if you can get out there, great. I'm definitely going to go check it out because apparently they're doing an event that's like dark beer and and desserts.
That's the thing.
And it's
I'm not the biggest beer drinker, but I have found the beer that I like. And when it said dark beer, it kind of piqued an eyebrow. So, and then the fact that the Twisted Sister is going to be out there.
Yeah, cupcakes.
Yeah, so that's another reason to go. So
I want to say
hopefully we can go. You know who I'm speaking to.
Yep, I'm going.
Yeah, that's who I was speaking to.
I'm going. We're making plans. I'm actually going to go out and do something fun.
That should be fun. But,
I'm like a homebody. I never go anywhere except work. Lots and lots of work.
Yeah.
Lots of work.
So, there's plans.
I think that's pretty much it. So, announcement-wise, like I was saying, we're fixing on the naming and getting some more consistency on the brand. Okay. And before we get too much further in there, we're going to do a shout-out to Syrinscape for the backgrounds and soundboards that we're using. Last week, I don't think we could hear it too well. I think this week we're on track with hearing them, so kind of get our nice little ambiance for today. Okay. And I have some other links and references and shout-outs, which we'll talk about as we get to those sections. So with that, I think we'll go ahead and start transitioning over to our movie review.
Movie reviews.
So, movie reviews. What are we looking at this week?
We have a couple.
We do. Our first one up is one I was actually really hoping maybe I could have got time to go watch with you, and that is Birds of Prey and the Fabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn. Fantabulous.
Fantabulous, people.
Alright, so tell me, how this is Margot Robbie's second run as the character Harley Quinn.
Yes.
So, what is up with this film? Because it feels like it's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. It is pretty over the top.
Mm-hmm.
But it was an unexpected treat of sorts because it takes place. Well, it predicates on the fact it takes place after Suicide Squad. No ties to Suicide Squad, but it takes place
after the events of Suicide Squad. Okay.
So we find Harley Quinn, played by Margot Robbie, and the whole story is predicated on the fact that she's splitting up from Joker. She left, so she's going on her merry little way through a little different comical hijinks and a lot of different visual noise of colorful and antics. And what happens is the fact that she was very protected being Joker's girl, and now that she's free, there is plenty of people coming after her, including the main bad guy in this film, Black Mask, played by Ewan McGregor.
Oh. I hate to point this out, but you actually have a spelling error now.
Probably.
It says Black Mask. I'm like, no, Black Mask.
Okay. I'll fix that later. But thank you. That's what good eyes do when you're tired in writing. But
that's why you shouldn't post till you've had a chance to review it.
I do.
Unless you're recording live, then it's like, oh, hey, yeah, we're just doing this.
Yeah. I can fix that later.
Alrighty, so Ewan McGregor is Black Mask.
Yeah, Black Mask.
Judging from the commercials, it looks like he had a lot of fun.
He had a lot of fun on top of every other character in this film, including Harley Quinn. So, what you go into the film, you get to see a very you get to see Harley Quinn and a bunch of other femme fatales that have to team up together to take out Black Mask because he's out to get every single one of them.
Okay.
So
because they're saying each one of them has some Black Mask has a reason to kill each person.
Oh yeah. So yeah, everyone has some kind of connection to Black Mask, whether they're working for him, came across him, pissed him off, whatever it was. Yeah, and then there's a specific MacGuffin that happens in the film that brings them all together. So it focuses on a very typical teaming up to stop the bad guy trope, but the oddities of the individuals and the genuine feel of the journey makes the film a wonderful treat because it's so bombastic. It's just so unpredictable with the action sequences and just the witty dialogue between the characters. Right, you really don't know what's going to happen.
So what are its strongest points?
The strongest points is that freneticism of the action set pieces and the mixing of that witty, dark dialogue. Okay. Because it is, I did not know this going in, but it is rated R. So they did lift up the veil, so it allows the characters to actually be outrageously funny and mature with the content. It's not bombastic where it's just dropping, F-bombs all over the place. But, it's just enough to where they're not being held back, aka Suicide Squad, because of the rating. They let loose.
Okay.
So that's the visual prowess of the film makes it a worthy treat.
All right. So, what's its weakest point?
The weakest point is that when they eventually start to work together, because the whole first half of the film, you watch all these different characters, working separate, and then it does a very choppy back and forth. So it moves forward, and then Harley Quinn does an exposition. Well, this is how this happens. So everything's fragmented, and then when it comes together, it starts to become very predictable. Exactly, all these people got to get together to take out him. And it reveals some of the faults when you rely too much on visual gags and stylized appeal. So it leans more on that style over substance, and you start to see the weakness of the script because there's not really any development. It's just more of a colorful sensation of craziness.
This is more visual, less everything else.
But it doesn't completely ruin the movie, because once it starts to lean towards that, it brings it back to that enjoyment, and it just turns into one insane action set piece in the third act.
Okay, so how is our villain? Does our villain actually have some substance to them, or are we doing, because so many comic book movies we've seen lately, the villain is very one-dimensional, very
the muscle twirling villain.
Yeah, or it's like they're only there for the purpose of plot. I mean, with the exception of a few notable ones like Ultron, Killmonger, even Thanos. It's like they're not. A lot of the other ones really aren't there as far as substance. And Ewan McGregor? I mean, this guy, he's done a lot of film. A lot of his films all have some substance with his character. I mean. So how does he kind of work with this villain?
What you come to find out is like he takes a typical trope that it starts with, not how he's introduced, but just the basis, and he pushes it within the colorfulness of the film.
Okay.
So he makes the character very multidimensional within his flamboyantness, because it's very... The flamboyantness disguises his menacing act. Because you think he's just messing around, and then he doesn't. And he does some really, like, gruesome stuff in this movie. So it's like a counterbalance that makes it funny, but it doesn't push it too far to where it be cheesy.
Okay.
So.
Alright.
So he has substance, but, his motivation is very typical of Batman. Mobster. But with that colorfulness, it does add, extra flavor to the trope.
I mean, you got to be a particular person to wear a mask like that. Black known as Black Mask like that.
And you have to predicate the fact that it is based in Gotham, so a lot of the villains in the Rogue Gallery are crazy. So,
yeah, I can go with that. I can go with that. All right, so what are we calling it?
It's a very fun. It's a very fun film. It goes above a typical comic book film, because it's not an origin tale. It's not one predicated on good versus bad. It has elements of the DC lore, and it allows it to be its own thing within its source material. So even when the style over substance might wane at parts, it's still fun. Matinee, 3.5 out of 5.
Alrighty. 3.5 out of 5. Okay.
Dun.
Alright, next up, we have Parasite, winner of Best Picture
at the Oscars, Best Picture, Director, Original Screenplay, and International Film.
Okay, so obviously this has got some high praise, and let's see how you rated it.
Just the funny thing on the rating before, I'm not going to give away the rating, people, but just the funny thing, one of our friends said in our group me chat, he kind of made a chuckle about my rating after the fact. He's like, that's interesting that you gave it that after the fact, but we'll get to that, people.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to rate. It's kind of hard because I gotta ask you, because I'm sure people are gonna wonder if this is posted after the award was announced. Are we saying that your rating was influenced by the fact that it won so many awards?
No.
Okay.
No.
You be the
judge. It was before, because I watched the movie way before. I posted it, just time. It's just time. That's the only time I had a time to write.
Okay.
Write out my outline of my thoughts. So.
All right. So this is a foreign film, right?
Yeah, for South Korean.
South Korean. Yeah. Okay. So talk to me about this film. Tell me about Parasite.
Parasite is a South Korean film directed by a popular international director, Bong Joon-ho. Mm-hmm. He is known around the world. He has some really strong films, but this is one of his breakout films.
Okay.
This film centers around a family in South Korea, and the main character's name is Kaite, and his family are low class family living in the slums of I assume it's Seoul, but I'm not gonna. I don't really know the town, but it's in one of the metropolitan areas in South Korea.
Something that, regardless of the location the film was done, people can identify a family in the lower income of any major metropolitan area.
So they're living in the slums of the metropolitan area in Korea, and through chance he gets offered a job as an English tutor for this wealthy family, the Park family, that live in Korea. What starts to happen is that once he gets in as the tutor for their daughter, he starts to slowly bring in his other parts of the family, his mom, his father, his sister, conning their way into their lives as working, either as the driver, as another tutor, as, the housekeeper. So they kind of con their way into their lives because they need to find a way to make money. So they're pretty much con artists, and that's all they do. So once they start conning this family, they get entangled in a web of being attached to them, and vice versa. The Park family being attached to them because they rely so much on their labor to do their own do their own work. So what happens is that in the film there is a certain incident. I'm not going to give it away because it does spoil it. That it tumbles both their lives in disarray. So it's pretty much a dark comedy, but with elements that dramatizes Korean society. So,
okay. Wow. I'd be disappointed if it didn't.
But the main crux of this film is the indifference of the class divide in Korea. And what it highlights is the fact that how society, regardless of where it is still mimicking the same way the difference of wealth disparity, but also the reliance. The whole point of the title Parasite, you might think that one side is... Let
me throw in there, because this is me. I have not watched this film. Parasite, foreign film. I'm thinking sci-fi.
Yeah,
I'm thinking sci-fi thing, horror thing. We all can think of name movies where it's some kind of sci-fi horror element to it. This, based on your description, this does not sound like it's. This sounds like it would be a character piece that you would see maybe Scorsese or some of those others would do.
You mentioned Scorsese, and one of the directors that he is inspired by is Scorsese. So a lot of his films that he writes, even the monster films, so you picked up on Parasite, he's known for monster films like The Host and Okja on Netflix. As long as you think of craziness when you hear that title, he also directed Snowpiercer with Chris Evans back in the day, a few years ago. The one where he was on the train. So a lot of your thoughts would have made sense because that's the kind of films he does.
And this one is more grounded and more of a society, more of a character and societal piece. So okay, all right. So is there anything really weak about this film?
Honestly, watching this film, this is one of the best written scripts I've seen in quite a while. Probably the best written script I've seen since Spotlight, which I've mentioned when I did my top 15 films of the decade. And the reason I say that, because the way the movie moves, you become endeared to the characters, not just one side or the other, but to both. And what you learn about this is that through just general conversational techniques and just subtle physical mannerisms, the relationships that build put a satirical aspect on realism. So as much as it's predicated on typical drama tropes, there is an honest feel to watching how the family, how one family yearns for the wealth of the Parks, and then you see the latter has an unfettered attachment to their people that work for them because of their guise of ignorance. They don't realize what they're doing to them, and vice versa. And then once the film, because it starts off as a dark comedy, dark satire, and then when that incident happens, it starts to shift, but not like a quick shift, like it doesn't make any sense. Because it's a melding of genres that makes you understand where all the characters are coming from and why they're doing what they're doing. You're understanding why Kai and his family are conning everybody, not just them, but they start out the film just conning a pizza delivery service. It's not spoiled. It's in the first 5 minutes. But so you know that even though they're living low, it's kind of their fault. But just that idea of watching how both are leaning on each other, the conversations, it's just very subtle. There's hints.
Okay.
So it doesn't. It's a smart script, and it's one of the ones that I like because it allows you rely on the smarts of your audience. You don't just force feed, exposition, force feed. This is going to lead to this. No, it's very subtle hints. Like when you just see somebody look in a certain way, somebody sit in a certain way, some people being trapped a certain way. It hints to something you don't know, but then when it comes back around full circle, it's just like aha moment. So that's why I say it's a smart one of the a very well written script.
So all right, we know it won. It won quite a few things at the Oscars, but the rating I care about is what did you rate it?
I rated it a 4.5 out of 5. It's an award-worthy film.
Obviously.
Because once everything comes full circle, it builds upon that characterization and there are harsh consequences to what both sides are doing to each other.
Okay.
Harsh consequences.
All right. So, we're good with that.
Yeah.
Now, it's been a while since we did this, but we also have a TV review, right?
TV review.
Are you ready for it?
I am ready for it.
I mean, honestly, I'm thinking this review would be better for Halloween, but hey, we're not going to wait that long. And that is, you just finished going through the Sabrina Netflix series.
Yep, The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, Season 3.
Season 3. All right. Talk to me about Sabrina.
Sabrina.
This is one I've been meaning to watch. I just haven't gotten around to watching it yet.
Oh, yeah. Season 3 follows Sabrina as she has to. The whole predication of Season 3 is the aftermath of Season 2. So, at the end of Season 2, spoiler alert, the devil comes to Earth. He's trying to merge both, and then through convenient subplots and all this stuff, they stop him. But the way they stop him is that they entrap the devil in Sabrina's boyfriend because of the certain skills that he has. So Lilith takes over Hell because somebody has to rule it.
Oh, and who better?
And so now Season 3 picks up after that, and through certain circumstances, Sabrina has to take control of Hell, become the queen of Hell. But also because of the fact that the devil is not at the head of Hell anymore, it throws the cosmos in disarray. So older witches start to come back into the fray, pagan witches. So there's a fight between the witches that worship the devil, pagan witches, along the fact that Sabrina has to fight this contender for Hell, because if he wins, he's going to turn Earth into the 10th level of Hell, Dante's Inferno. So there's a lot of storytelling happening within the 8 episodes, because you have Sabrina working twofolds.
That sounds like a heck of a lot of stuff to try and deal with in 8 episodes.
Yeah.
How long is each episode?
They're an hour plus, right around an hour-ish. So, but the thing is that the only reason they're able to do that because they've already developed all the characters through the first 2 seasons up until this point. So you're just adding the next chapter. Okay. So you don't really have to define why, what, or how people's powers are, where they come from, the relationships. You already know at this point. You have Sabrina, her aunts, Zelda and Hilda, her cousin. You have the group of witches that they, the coven, and then you're just adding in this extra element. Your world, there's a lot more world building in this season, in Season 3. That's the one thing I can notate, the fact that there is a lot of world building in Season 3, unlike the first 2, which focused on Sabrina trying to figure out her powers or whether she's going to go dark or light. So it's building the world.
Okay, so what would you rate this? Episode by episode or just overall season? Let's go with overall season.
Overall season. Overall season, I think it was a fun-filled journey. There was a lot of suspense building. There was a lot of consequential actions to all characters deciding to do certain things in the season. Mm-hmm. But I was a little disappointed by the finale, so it brings it down a little bit because what they did in the finale, they just threw in a plot device to bring everything together, and just a Deus Ex Machina plot device to just make how to save everything. You just do this just because it's got Deus Ex Machina, for people who don't know, is just a godlike plot device that is just there just
just for a resolution.
Just for a resolution, and it kind of threw me off because it doesn't make any sense. I'm not going to spoil it. I'll tell you later,
okay, well, we can tell. We'll go in depth on this one for our Patreon chat.
But it's just it brought it down a little bit. It was the season was originally going to be my favorite until that final episode, and then once that final episode happened, I was just like, it's average.
I mean, does it look like we have some
3 out of 5?
A new chapter if they do season 4 or a continuation.
The plot device wraps it up.
Okay, so we can go someplace new.
Yeah, there is someplace new because they introduce elements throughout the season that hint at a greater evil. So, not like a greater than devil, but there are tied to witchcraft. So.
Okay, so number scale. What do we call it?
3 out of 5.
3 out of 5.
That finale
still worth checking it out.
Oh yeah, it's still worth. Even with what that finale did, they're still fun.
All right, so go to Netflix, check out Sabrina.
Yeah, be chilled by her adventures.
Funny. Alrighty. Alright, so I guess with that, so much fun. So yeah, we'll talk more about Sabrina later.
Yeah, because that plot despises people. It's yeah.
So before we roll into State of Game, got a few entertainment news pieces.
A lot of big ones too.
Oh yeah, and some of them not so much, but they're all interconnected. So I think we'll go off with the big bombshell, and not really a bombshell at this point, but it's just one of those things when you want to look back at your growing up, especially for me and for you as well as a movie person. It's like some people are just iconic in the industry, and so without going into too much more sideways, Kirk Douglas passed away.
Yes, passed away.
The ripe young age of 103.
Over a century. He lived over a century.
He was one of those old school Hollywood peeps.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he did a number of Disney films. Did a lot of. He's the original Spartacus. I mean, it was
Paths to Glory, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
Yeah.
There's just iconic films, one after another.
And plus, his son, Michael Douglas, is Hank Pym now.
Yeah.
And he's no slouch when it comes to his craft.
He has a lot of good acting chops, including Wall Street.
Mm-hmm.
And, a few others. But just seeing this passing and in fact, it's just the fact of how long he lived.
How long he lived,
he lived
the fact that
good life.
He was a part of an era of Hollywood that is getting really hard to identify.
Yeah, because it's way back in a time when one of the golden age of cinema, but it's one of the ones that helped push cinema forward.
Yes.
When it comes to the grand scale of epics like Spartacus, and then just the character dramas and just acting in general. He's like the epitome of it.
The whole post World War II, the whole communist scare in the country, Cold War era. I mean, so much was going on in the world when this guy was doing his thing, and it was just. It's great. There was actually a nice little thing. Huffington Post for this entertainment, they have a nice little homage video.
Oh yeah.
So I'll have a link to that in our show notes. But it's definitely kind of cool. It's nice to see, this and that. Next thing we got is some. You sent me this story. I just had to kind of giggle.
Is it the next one down?
I had to giggle on this one a little bit, and that is previously he had sent me a post about Disney was eyeing Margot Robbie to be Tinkerbell.
Yes.
On top of that, they're also looking at having Joaquin Phoenix play Captain Hook. Really?
Yeah. As reported on Screen Rant.
Come on. I mean...
So, as Screen Rant reports, quote, Joaquin Phoenix might be trading one villainous role for another, as reports say Disney is eyeing him for the role of Captain Hook in their live-action remake Peter Pan and Wendy.
Well, no signatures are written, but they're eyeing him for that. Okay.
But he might also start getting a lot more steam.
I think he'd be an awesome Captain Hook.
Yeah. Him just picking up all the awards, including Best Actor at the Oscars. Yeah. You know, Disney likes to use that as a jumping board for a lot of people. A lot of people want to work with Disney, as you see Marvel pulling in a lot of people too.
All right. Okay, so our next one is Sam Raimi is in talks to direct Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
Yes, as reported.
This one doesn't feel. This one feels like it's a good combo.
It is a good combo, and also it highlights another if they can get him a win for Marvel, because you see all these different intuitive directors, and then you see another person who has that inquisitive kind of mindset. With the Evil Dead trilogy,
come on,
and a couple other things.
There's that. There's also the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy. Yeah. I mean,
Spider-Man 2, one of my favorites of all time, but
definitely arguably up there.
Yeah.
But I only have my thing is, if this does turn out to be true, I'm gonna be watching Eagle Eye, because gotta find out where Bruce Campbell is gonna be.
Got to.
He's gonna be in
somewhere.
There. He's in every one of them. All right. Next up, since we talked about Parasite taking quite a few awards. It looks like HBO is on board with doing a series. It looks like, and they want to have the Hulk play one of the characters.
Yeah. As reported on ScreenNet, HBO is reportedly eyeing Mark Ruffalo to star in the network's upcoming series based on the movie. Bong Joon-ho's critically acclaimed film Parasite.
So obviously this is good. Not only are we having a U.S. interpretation of this film, but HBO is wanting to do a series on it.
That's the one thing that I actually have a positive outlook, is the fact that they're doing an adaptation. A lot of times, Asian films and stories get adapted to America, but it's like a straight retelling from movie to movie, with some highlighted ones that have been successful, like The Ring and The Grudge back in the day. But the fact that they're taking it and making it a series, it allows more development.
Yeah.
And a good actor to lead.
Of course. Alrighty. Next one up is Christian Bale reportedly playing an intergalactic villain in Thor 4.
Oh, yeah.
What's up with this?
It is being reported on ScreenNet that he is being talked to play the villain, or one of the villains, in Thor Love and Thunder. So,
which character do you think it would be?
A lot of the rumors that were trending before were thinking Beta Ray Bill, but if it's actually going to be a villain, they think it might be some other possibilities. And I'm not that in depth with a lot of the Thor lore, so the only thing I can think of is the name that they're throwing out on Screen Rant is Dario Agger. Not sure who that is, but we'll take a look later, people.
Our last one for a show that we're looking forward to seeing the second season of, Witcher Season 2 will reportedly feature a familiar monster from the games.
Oh, yeah.
So, this should be fun, too.
Oh, yeah. If they're definitely pulling more
game
from
references,
the games, that'll help build, game references and help lead more people to playing the game, even though the first season actually drove up the sales of all the games. So,
hey, The Witcher is great. I can't wait to see the next season.
Toss a coin,
we'll probably do our stuff with that.
Toss that coin.
Alrighty, so with that, I think we're ready to go ahead and roll into State of Game.
Gaming our way through the state of play. Play my game, people.
Alrighty, so State of Game, time where we talk about all the various games we're playing, maybe a little entertainment news, gaming news, whether it be tabletop, video game, airsoft games, airsoft in general. It's State of Game. So let's kick this off like we usually do.
Boom. Boom.
Video games. What you got?
Same one. Borderlands 3, people.
Borderlands 3.
But now this time is that now that me and my friends that are playing it, they've caught up to where I'm at in the main story. So now we are working together to finish the game. So that's pretty fun. So we are working, like if we can't play together, we're just doing the side missions. But when we can game together, we do the main mission.
Nice.
So it is actually, like, I was already having fun with this game, just running it solo. But then when you add more people into it, it's a lot more fun.
Nice.
And I just need to say, I have got the cool. It's like every time I talk about this, I say I got the coolest gun, but now I got a really cool gun. It's a submachine gun, but when you reload it, you throw it like some guns where they explode. But this one, you throw it, it floats in the air and acts as a second gun while you shoot in your main gun from your hand. So it hovers over and uses heat. It heat seeks out the people.
Borderlands version of spiritual weapon.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, it's not going to stay in place. So once it targets somebody and starts to run, it goes after them.
Oh wow!
So that's the bomb gun right there, people.
All right. Well, my co-op game was our friend Penumbra. He's still working through some of the Master Chief Collection for Xbox, and started playing ODST.
Awesome.
We finished Halo 5, and now it's like we're starting up ODST, which, yeah, I've said it before. That's my favorite one of the franchise.
Yeah, you've mentioned that before.
I really enjoy that one, not because the cast is Firefly, not because it's not a non-Master Chief story.
Don't you say it.
Not sure? Because it's a mystery, but it's a really good game.
It isn't the obvious on the noggin.
Yeah, a little bit maybe.
But if it's fun, it's fun.
It's fun. It is a great time. So, and next after that, I do have some D&D stuff.
Oh yeah, roll them dices.
Oh yeah, D&D wise, which I mentioned, No Quarter is going to get started, so I'll be talking about them when we get there, and that'll be fun. But this past Sunday was Agents of Short, which I know is your favorite group to hear about.
I love Agents of Short, reaching right above that 5 feet.
All right, so Agents of Short is still working through our Waterdeep adventure.
Okay.
We pick up inside of our Umber.
Okay.
And taking a short rest and then going down to the docks. The blizzard outside is still raging. The water is frozen over. It's not a good time.
Doesn't sound like it.
No, and we get dropped off. And of course, we're all still pretty beat up from the last couple of encounters. So we haven't taken a chance to really rest yet. So we get to this section of town and we're trying to figure out, okay, where is our target? So a couple of questions and some investigation rolls, and the street urchin network that one of our characters has been building points us to where this guy's at. So we of course, first thing we'll do is we're going to disguise ourselves as members of the city legal, like constables and stuff.
Okay.
And just inquire politely. Of course, we do the knock thing, no noise. Do the knock thing, we hear something in the background and we go, I thought I heard screaming. Probable cause. Open the door. Find our target trying to murder someone in their home.
Dun.
Which, from there, then battle ensues. And we subdue the guy and tie him up, and as we attempt to leave the building, we're greeted by a group of thugs who, and of course, again, we're all pretty worse for wear. We're not really up for another fight. Yeah. No, this is a group of 9 thugs, and one of them tosses a little kid, NPC player, off the dock, hits the water, breaks through the ice, and now is struggling to stay afloat in this freezing water in the middle of a blizzard.
Yeah.
One of our characters, Jim, he tosses our prisoner down the same path so he's in the water, and then because it was trying to get these guys to back off and just let us go. no, got into the fight. The fight was not going well for us. It was getting a little rough there, but finally we managed to some trickery, convince them that more constables were coming to investigate. So they decided to kill the person we're trying to get information from and then dart off. We're left going, well, this sucks. And so we leave off going to get a long rest. So it wasn't a whole lot that went on, a lot of combat related stuff.
Okay.
But it was one of those, I could not connect for nothing. They couldn't connect on me for nothing, which is a good thing. I probably would have been killed.
Yeah.
Not fun. The dice gods.
Very, very situational.
Yes, very situational type thing. So, Agents of Short will continue on. I mean, we all know where this is going to end, so that we can start working on Baldur's Gate.
Yeah.
In our next adventure, but we're still trying to ride this through.
Yeah.
Breath.
Breathe. I am still playing a little bit of Pokemon Go.
Oh, really?
Yep.
What do you think of the new changes?
I do like the new changes,
Okay.
but I hit a snag with Fighting Team Rocket.
Uh-oh.
Because their CP is twice as much as mine now. The people that I'm fighting right now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I'm just like, you know what? Nah. So I'm just gonna just walk around catching Pokemon now.
Fair enough. Alright. Next up, we're going to talk some Balhack.
Balhack.
So, yeah, Balhack, airsoft.com. Check that out. Some stuff we're going to talk about. And gameplay. Actually, for this time, I want to dive into a game that I actually played in this weekend, and that is Chaos.
Chaos.
And we talked a lot about attack and defend. We talked a lot about scenario, those kinds of things. Well, let's kind of want to dive into this one, and here's setting this up. Had plans to do a game Saturday afternoon. Didn't quite make it to the game. The game didn't happen. So I had a full day on the field. Well, I decided to bring out a couple of things and play.
Okay.
So when I go to play, I am setting, for my work loadout, I'm using Classic Army M24 LTR.
Okay.
I'm going to get one of those Gen 1. I've had it for about 6-8 months. I've got a Lancer tactical scope on it. It's a 4x12, I believe. And so this one's fairly old, so it's pretty broke in. I ended up having a 25-foot minimum engagement distance. And when I was using this, I used 0.36 weight BBs. I don't want to use lightweight BBs. I'm trying to work my way into the heavier weight stuff. I have some 2.5s I'm burning through for my M4. That's 3.0s I use in my shotgun and the MP5 that I've got.
Okay.
Which, when I do play with those, we'll go into more of that particular load. But, so, talking about Chaos. So let's talk Chaos. Chaos is a game that, when I first heard about it, my first thought was, in Halo, you have a multiplayer thing where it's like infection.
Yeah.
Where you have your blue and your red, and every time a red kills a blue, that blue is now on the red team.
Yeah.
And grows and grows and grows. Very similar how this works. The Chaos game, it's a soft start game. You get into groups anywhere from 4 to 10, depending on the number of players on the field. Mm-hmm. Each team has a challenge and reply. This is an old tactic. It's a two-word phrase. Back in World War II, they used to use thunder, lightning. Yeah. To say thunder, if they didn't reply with lightning, then obviously they were hostile. Mm-hmm. So that's how this works. Salt, pepper. Some of the ones that we've seen over and over and over again is like pancake, Baby Yoda. So you have these challenge codes. Well, the idea is your team has challenge code. You shout out the code. If they don't reply, then you shoot them. Now everyone is a medic. Okay. All right. When you kill players on the opposing team, you can go medic them to make your team larger.
Yeah.
The objective is to have the largest team on the field. So this is an absorption type thing. Chaos games, depending on who's playing and what time of day you play it, is going to have varying results.
Yeah.
We've done chaos games in the morning where it's like small groups, kind of east-west. We've taken elements of the chaos rules, which is the whole everyone's a medic, use your challenge and reply, make your team larger, and kind of work through that way. If you have it working out right, the game can go on. And a lot of games will end in the town, which on the map is pretty much right there in F, G, and H, 12 through 13. That's pretty much the town, and that's pretty much where most everything ends. There have been a few games, and these are the ones I really enjoy the most, where the end was actually, one of them, the end was in the LZ.
Okay.
Had a team decide to just hang out there and last there the entire time. That was really cool. Had a team move all the way north into the North Fire Base, which on the map is roughly E and F, 3 and 4.
Okay, I see.
On the grid, and so had the players kind of roll up through there and then bring them back and chase them down the Moses Trail and the North Pond Trail, which the Moses Trail starts there on D5 and moves all the way down through 10, a little bit into the D and E 5 through 10 there. So it's not bad. It's a narrow trail, but it adds for a lot of interesting gameplay. Now, me, I don't play a lot of games for various reasons. So when I took off my Marshall vest and I went to my Jeep and I pulled out my LTR, I really quick sighted it in, stood there, and then I had several players all like, "Wait, you're playing?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm standing. Gonna do the sniper thing."
Like, this is why I'm holding this.
Yeah. It's got on my shoulder. I just wanted to look cool. So I'm trying to find my niche when it comes to playing Airsoft.
Yeah.
I really don't have one yet because I don't play. I play, but I don't play a whole lot.
Yeah.
And so it's like, all right, and realizing that, okay, playing a sniper on a day like Saturday did not work out so well because I had issues.
Yeah.
So I come out and I was standing with one group, but that group had like 12 people. So I was like, that's a little unfair. So I moved over to another group I was affiliated with and got in with them. And our call sign was J-Lo.
Yeah.
So we go and we started in the tower, which is the north side of the town.
Okay.
I would say it's probably G11 or G10 on the map is about where the tower is. So we started in the tower, which is cool. So I go all the way to the top and I'm trying to figure out a place and it's like, all right, I have my scope. My scope's roughly sighted in. I still have to kind of work through that. But then it was like, all right, cool. So I get hit, have to go all the way down to get medicked. I'm kind of wandering around, and then I start having fogging issues. Because fogging happens, and I'm sitting here with my full face mask and everything else, and I start to fog right in the center of the lens where I would look through the sight. And as I'm doing that, it's like it's getting hard to see. And at one point, I'm getting around behind we have like an RV trailer. Yeah. All the windows are blown out. You can kind of see through. I had a bead on a guy by the East Swamp pipeline. Yeah. Which, again, we're just talking HI 10 through 12 on the map, roughly. Okay. Got a line on him, and I think I got it, but when I sight in, I'm actually hitting the rail of not hitting near him because I can't see through the scope enough. Yeah. And finally it's like, all right, I go and I medic up Saladin because he was out playing. He borrows the LTR and pops a few shots off.
Yeah.
And then it's, all right, he goes toward the tower, and then I go, and it's like, all right, I have this engagement distance, so I can't get too close to people because, that's how engagement distance work. You're not supposed to, because if you hit somebody, if you have something that's that powerful and you're too close, you're going to end up leaving welts and stuff, which is, nobody really wants that.
Yeah.
You want to have fun, but you don't want to come back like, needing medical attention.
Yeah.
So I ended up medicing people inside of one of the Connex boxes behind the tower and behind the ruins. As we're sitting there, and of course, and this on the map is roughly G11, I want to say, is about where this Connex is. Okay. So I'm in there and I'm medicing people, and of course, I spend so much time marshalling. I'm doing it because the way medic works is you maintain physical contact with somebody, and you go 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi for 60 seconds.
Yeah.
A lot of people, when the adrenaline gets flowing, they start going tap, 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 tap. And it's like, no, you got to slow down. Yeah. I mean, as it says in the brief, 30 seconds and a minute can change a lot of the outcome, but there's no reason to sacrifice that. Yeah. Because a little bit of time and you'll be back in the gameplay. Just go with it. So I'm sitting there and I'm doing the tapping, and it's like, get somebody up, and by this point, I'm in a Connex box. It's kind of dark. I can't see, and now I'm completely fogged over. The most I get is a vague outline of a body. So I'm like, I have an engagement distance. I don't have a secondary. Just bring me people to medic. Finally, they bring me, and so it's like, all right, this guy comes, I medic him, he gets up, he walks over, gets shot, another guy brings it back to me. I mean, this was kind of a rotating thing with the same 4 people.
Cycle the first aid, people.
And then finally, at one point, I'm leaning against the wall. They're over on the other end where there's a window and a door, and you start to hear BBs ricochet off the walls, and a couple of the guys are like, did I get hit? I'm not sure if I got hit. Again, I marshal a lot. I've listen to the rules all the time. I go, when in doubt, call it out. Yeah. And they're like, yeah. So they put their dead rags on and they say, I'm hit. And it's like, because not sure. Because that's the thing we do. We want to, for the spirit of the game, you want to call your hits. Yeah. You want to be like, look, I got hit. It's not a big deal. Yeah. More people get irritated when hits aren't called because of yes, there are a lot of times there's a lot of ricochets, there's a lot of things that might bounce, but it's that benefit of the doubt. It's like, look, it's not that big of a deal. You got to respawn, you got a medic. If everybody's doing their role, gameplay just kind of flows. And this is one of the things that makes chaos as a back and forth is everybody doing their part. So I'm in there, I get everybody all medic back up. They all leave the Connex to go looking for more things, and by this point I can't see anything. So I'm like, alright, I'm just gonna walk back off the field to defog, because you never want to mess with the iPro on the field, because you never know when some super secret ninja is gonna get that shot off and it pops you in the eye and then you can't see for the rest of your life. And yes, I just about quoted that safety video. If y'all have seen it, you know what I'm talking about. So I walk back to the field. Now here's another one of those things where it's like I'm on there so much. I traversed the field from roughly G10 to G11 on the map, all the way down to E15. Can't see at all. Yeah. Just kind of walking. Then it's like, and then the next game is a scenario style game, and I play out there for a little bit. And of course, by this point, Skittles comes out to the field. My wife comes out to the field, and Skittles brings a friend.
Okay.
Right. So they're coming in. They're going to observe her friend's going to observe, because I didn't want her to see if she really, little kids are kind of finicky when it comes to getting them on the field. It's great that they come onto the field, but you never know how they're going to react to it. I've seen kids get all catatonic once BBs start flying. And I've seen kids just charge people when BBs start flying. Yes, I'm talking about Skittles charging people. She does that. People have commented to me, it's really kind of disconcerting to see her charging at you in an Airsoft game. But, so they were observing. And I was, again, and I'd gotten a few shots off, but then I started to fog again. Yeah. Well, at this point, instead of walking down a well-defined path where I could see the turns, I end up walking from the pond, which on the map looks like it's a D10, through the barrier woods, which is that whole D, E, and F, 11 through 15, and that's all wood. There's not a lot of really delineated paths. And I walked through that, completely fogged up. And it's like, so I made a comment to the GA later, to Saladin, and then the GA is like, I've been on the field so much, I can walk completely blind from one end to the other in the woods.
It's just like, I just know where to go.
The force is strong.
It's not a mind trick.
Yes. So that was Saturday, which left and then Sunday. So I get home Saturday, I'm breaking everything down, and Skittles and her friend are like, can we go back tomorrow?
Of course.
You sure? I'm like, all right. Talked to her friend's parents. They were on board with it. Brought them out to the field. The two of them played from open till I got off about 2, so about 2:30.
Yeah.
But they made the Facebook camera roll. Mm-hmm. So if you go to Facebook... look for Balhack Airsoft on their Facebook page. Look, they do a photo album of every weekend of gameplay. And you look at Sunday's gameplay, there'll be pictures of the two of them all decked out. She's running with the MP5. Or Skittles is running with her MP5. Her friend is running with a combat machine, M4 style. It's mostly all polymer, so it's relatively light. The two of them are doing that. They were having a great time, and they have now coined a new name. Mm-hmm. They are the Battle Gnomes. Yes, they are my Battle Gnomes.
That is, it works. It works.
It totally works.
It works, but it's funny at the same time.
And if you're an anime fan, and you've watched Sword Art Online's spin-off series, GGO...
I haven't seen that, but I've seen Sword Art, and I've watched all of Sword Art, so...
Well, there's the GGO, which is kind of a spin-off focusing on Gun Gale Online.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the two main characters is like, one's a little girl with a pink P90.
Yeah.
And the other one's a little girl wearing yellow with a couple of with dual grenade launchers. Yes. Well, Skittles and her friend, Skittles wore pink, her friend wore yellow. So, tell me if that's not a cosplay opportunity.
It is a cosplay opportunity. I say go for it.
I'm looking for a P90 now to sit there and put that together, because I know they make the P90 and they do make grenade launchers. They are pretty wicked, and they got a 25-foot MED, but that would be definite room clearing. But I just think seeing the two of them would be hilarious.
Oh yeah,
but if not,
so great.
Battle Gnomes, they had a blast. They definitely want to go back out. I'm sure the Battle Gnomes will be out at Balhack again.
Oh, yeah. I see a lot in the future.
Yes, a lot of Battle Gnomes.
Dun, dun, dun.
So, kind of go back over here. So, got a couple other things to kind of give a shout out.
Shout-outs.
Some shout-outs. I'm still working this through, because this is, again, based on some of the feedback I got.
Yeah.
And... recently, since kind of rolling with this theme here, I was running with a bolt-action rifles doing the sniper thing.
Yeah.
Well, last week I had mentioned that one of the big Airsoft manufacturers or personalities, Novritsch, came out with 2 new rifles.
Yeah.
The SSG-10 A1 and A2.
Okay.
Well, these are I don't have pictures, I do apologize, but in the show notes, I'm going to have links to where you can check this stuff out. But something I want to kind of showcase and give a shout out to is a couple of YouTubers related to Balhack, or at least one of them's obviously Swamp Sniper, because his concept for this promo video is absolutely hilarious. Where he jumped into the bucket of an excavator and was doing some test shots with one of these new SSG10s. It's hilarious. YouTube.com/ or YouTube.com. Look for Swamp Sniper. Check that video out. It is absolutely a riot. Another one is from another player. His channel is called Getty_Gotham, and he does an actual comparison of the SSG-24, which is the most common Novritsch rifle I see out there.
Yeah.
And he has a new SSG-10, and he does a comparison on both of them through the video. I also gonna have a link to the actual Novritsch US websites where you can check this stuff out. Sorry I don't have pictures, didn't quite get all of that together, but I'm gonna try and go that forward. But I'm also gonna try and do a shout out to various airsoft YouTubers, like who do, especially those that are on the Balhack community. And so far, the last 2 videos that Getty has put out, I'm in there at some point, somewhere
doing something.
I'm in there doing something. One of them, I think I'm doing a brief before a game.
Yeah.
And another one is I'm running chrono, so I'm actually chronoing these guns that he's going to use for this comparison. So, but I like them. They're not bad. I'm probably not going to ever get one, but another shout out would be to House Gamers Airsoft. He has a video where he puts one of these SSG 10s through a bunch of stress testing. Like he buries it, tries to dig a hole with it.
Yeah, that is definitely a stress reliever.
It's great. Again, I'll have links to all that stuff in the show notes. When you go look at the VOD on YouTube, or as well as on the community pages. Lots of fun with that. Need a breather.
A lot of talking there, but a lot of Balhack.
A lot of Balhack. I spent a lot of time in Balhack. I want to do more things for Balhack.
Yeah.
And not so much Balhack individually, but just airsofting. Because I think airsofting is a nice niche where you can get some good stuff going on. And trying to showcase like some of these YouTubers who do videos out there, it's like try to build that community thing. And I've seen other people, they do like community shout outs. It's like these people do these projects, that kind of thing. So trying to also build together, like if you go into the Scuba Studio YouTube channel, trying to follow all of these various YouTubers affiliate who do things airsoft that I've met and talked to and whatnot. So obviously there's Swamp Sniper, which gotta give the shout outs to him, because
shout out to you.
If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing here with trying to talk about airsoft and playing airsoft and all that. So
helps out. Thank you to you.
Hey, that's how it is. It's like shout out to those kind of various shout outs. It's like cool, and the community there is cool. These videos are nice because it gives you an idea of how things are playing. And there's other people I know who are doing videos. So as soon as if any of them see this or want to let me do more shout outs for their stuff, I'll start compiling that list, and we'll see maybe if I can't find a way to play some of them or link some of them up here a little easier for people to check out. So with that, I'm rambling. So I think I need to stop rambling, and we need to talk about odds and ends.
Odds and endies.
Oh,
endies.
wait.
No, wait. Rewind.
We're not going to do that. Beep, beep. Stop. Time out.
Time out to the outs.
Before we get to odds and ends, we're going to talk... I guess it all kind of fits into odds and ends. And we got a couple of different news stories. One of them is kind of a gaming related, and another one is kind of just a general tech related.
Yeah.
And So we'll do our intro for odds and ends, and we'll just do all of these stories together.
A mix and match of all of them.
Yeah, kind of a mixing it up. So with that. Okay, so odds and ends. Don't have any pictures for these stories this week.
You have my hands, people. My hands.
Magic hands. Jazz hands.
Pretty
All right.
small.
So first thing we're going to talk about, and this is kind of a big deal, especially at least to me, because of my particular history with this, and that is, in case y'all aren't aware, there was this merger going on between T-Mobile and Sprint. T-Mobile had positioned themselves and made an offer to purchase Sprint at a cash payout per share.
Yeah.
When you have mergers like this, they tend to go through a lot of legal hullabaloo, and they have to go through several approvals through various government agencies.
Yeah, especially being a big merger like this.
Oh, huge merger. We're talking the third and fourth largest cell phone providers in the United States. Well, there was a sign. The FCC signed off on this, and then a whole slew of states decided to throw in and sue to try and block the merger on the grounds of this would reduce competition and make things harder for consumers.
Yeah. Which,
again, if you know your history, this is all why we have these antitrust suits, or why we have these regulations against monopolies. Back in the history lesson there, because I love history, and that's Industrial Revolution of America. There was the whole Standard Oil.
Yes.
And Standard Oil pretty much took over every smaller one or forced a lot of them out. Fast forward 100 years or so to now. Now we're seeing, and we've all seen these large companies like Walmart or Microsoft that seem to have a hold on the market. Well, the difference between them now versus things like Standard Oil in the past is they're not actively really competition can still exist.
Yeah.
And competition is protected.
Yeah.
Whereas they can't just force it out.
Yeah.
Of course, now with society being what it is, it's like now all of a sudden we have this thing about too big to fail, where these large companies obviously cannot go away because but companies come and go.
Yeah.
I mean,
it happens.
Yeah, there are companies that were huge 50 years ago that don't exist at all now. Another great one is the whole Sears thing.
Yeah,
used to be back in the day.
I feel like we were on the same page.
Back in the day, you'd get that Sears catalog, that big freaking can't rip it or nothing catalog. Mm-hmm. You'd scroll through and you could buy your Cub Scout uniform, you could buy your tools, you could buy his clothes that you could literally try to cut, and it would stop a saw blade. I mean, I'm exaggerating, obviously, but
no, it could stop a saw blade. Believe that, people. Believe it.
So you get that. Well, Sears now is like, where are they at? They were bought by Kmart, and even Kmart's kind of going away.
Well, just recently, the last Kmart in North Carolina is going to close on the Outer Banks. So pretty much there's no Kmart in either Virginia or North Carolina.
See? Anyway, so roundabout way of coming back down to this is a judge approved the merger for T-Mobile and Sprint, and this merger is tagged at roughly $26 billion.
Yes.
It's huge.
It's a very, 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 very big merger, but it is one that has been in the works for a couple of years.
Yeah.
I'm going to say a couple of years because I remember it being spoken a couple of years
ago. Now this actually comes to affect me in the sense that I'm a current T-Mobile subscriber, and I'm not affiliated with them. This is my opinions. My opinions are my own. I had Sprint. I have T-Mobile. I have shares of Sprint, And so when I got my shares of Sprint, I got a copy of this merger deal that I could look through and actually see how this goes and see the payouts. So as an investor, I think this is kind of cool because then my value is going to go up because these shares are either going to get bought out or rolled in, and where now I have shares in T-Mobile.
Yeah.
And to give you an idea why T-Mobile is buying this is Sprint shares were trading at roughly $5 to $7 a share. T-Mobile is on average about $40 a share.
Yeah.
So it's good business, I think. And maybe I'm crazy to some people, but
play the stock market.
I'm trying.
Drop it like it's
very
hot.
amateur.
Drop it like it's hot.
So big on these mergers. Another one. Our next story to talk about. Or do you have any thoughts on this? I don't want to feel like I'm steamrolling you. Do you have any thoughts?
It is a very big deal because at the same time you can see whenever big mergers happen like this, it's going to be a fight because it's lessening the competition in a way because it's going from 4 major to 3 major. But at the same time, like you said, the mergers help a company grow because you have a merging of 2 infrastructures, and it allows for technology of one side to look at technology on the other side and build it up, because it might actually drive the competition even more higher than what it is and lead to faster evolution of the wireless networks.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and there's more information in the article that the link is it's from NBCNews.com on their business section. You can. And that the headline is Judge approves $26 billion merger of T-Mobile and Sprint.
Yeah.
Basically, the states that were trying to prevent this could not make an argument that would overrule them having the merger. Like, they're so.
And I can do a quick quote from it. From the decision filed Tuesday, Judge Victor Marosa wrote, quote, "The resulting stalemate leaves the court lacking sufficiently impartial and objective grounds on which to rely in basing a sound forecast of the likely competition effects of a merger." So basically it's saying that, yes, it's going from 4 to 3, but there's no obvious evidence that the competition would be frayed.
And with this, there's actually one thing left for this deal, and that is they have to get through California state. There's a state agency or state law within California that prevents that they have to get approval from before this can really pick up steam. But as far as a large picture thing, this ruling kind of paves that road.
Yeah. So there's a give and take on both sides, but it's just a matter of seeing what happens. Because even like a merger like Sears and Kmart, you saw what that did.
Yeah, Craftsman Tools and Kmart.
I think Craftsman's Tool's still around somewhere.
Oh, it is. But it was like Sears' big thing.
Yeah.
All right, so next one, and again, this is kind of large and whatever, and I kind of teased this with Microsoft. Recent article with the head of Xbox, Phil Spencer, talking about Xbox's competition or how the whole gaming community is, and this year we're expecting new console from Microsoft, new console from PlayStation.
Yeah. PS5 and Xbox Series X.
And, of course, a lot of us gamers or whatever, we've all kind of grown up with the whole thing that it's the big three. It's Nintendo, PlayStation, and Xbox are always fighting it out. Well, this article from GameSutra.com is talking about how Phil Spencer is basically saying that he doesn't feel that Nintendo and PlayStation are Xbox's competition anymore. He feels that Amazon and Google are now the main competitors for Xbox, because one of the new things that Xbox will be having is their whole cloud gaming platform, the xCloud, which is obviously going to be a competitor with Google's Stadia.
Yeah.
And I don't know what, and Amazon's got their hands somewhere, so I'm sure there's some type of cloud gaming thing that Amazon does as well.
That the money they have, they can do whatever they want.
Yeah, I mean, they're running Twitch for crying out loud. So,
hi.
Yeah. So What do you think about this one?
This comment I look at it as a twofold approach because I've heard mention of this, how Microsoft tends to think that their competition is beyond the traditional medium of gaming consoles. And basically what Phil Spencer is saying here, that the way that Microsoft is building, they're not building to compete with their traditional competitors. They want to work with them so they can compete against the bigger boys, because what it is that Microsoft is investing in connectivity of everything, which is why he looks at Google and Amazon, who have their hands in connections with people around the world, as the bigger foray. And if you can work together with the other two, it could be a more prime example to build a bigger web against these non-traditional gaming companies.
That's fair.
So,
I mean, there was a story recently that PlayStation was saving their price point on how they're going to position the new PlayStation price-wise until after Xbox announces what their pricing model is going to be.
Yeah. Just as is seeing how Sony and Nintendo builds their console on traditional means, you can see how Microsoft has slowly moved away from just a traditional console from the original Xbox, and every iteration has slowly incorporated, more community-based, more online interaction, more interaction that is web-related than just traditional.
It's one of the things
consoles.
like when the Xbox One first launched, it was the concept behind that was to try to be your entertainment hub in your entertainment center.
He got a lot of backlash, but eventually they kind of won out that argument because of where Xbox is now.
Oh yeah,
You have Xbox Game Pass, you have Mixer, you have a bunch of all entertainment section on top of the gaming stuff, which helps bridge two worlds.
Yes,
so
very much so. Alrighty, next up, and this is kind of one of those weird ones, or not weird, but if you're a science nerd,
the next one down.
Yep.
Okay.
Next one down. Go ahead, take it away.
Okay, so this is I caught this one time and I was like, okay, I'm not biting. I saw it again a second time reported through Apple News, but the link that you shared is what it came. So
we hooked you.
Yeah.
You're hooked. All right.
Mutual friend shared it, and I was like, okay, it must be true. So this is an article that started out on Vice, and the headline is something in deep space is sending signals to Earth in steady 16-day cycles. So basically what is happening is that every 16-day cycles they're getting a radio frequency known as FRVs from a close galaxy. When I mean close, it's still 500 million light years away, but that's close in relative sense.
Oh, it's right around the block.
Yeah, it's close in relative sense to a lot of other stuff that scientists look beyond our solar system. So
I gotta be honest. This one is like, yeah, that's cool, but personally, it's like until we can get off this rock, it don't mean anything. Because I mean, we're all this supposition and all this probes. It's like, no, let's get off the rock. Let's just start building and start leaving the planet, and let's start doing that.
Let's actually go find these signals and then lead to Independence Day.
It could be, they're friendly. That doesn't mean they have to be hostile.
Aliens, Independence Day, Mars attacks, Predator.
Fine.
Maybe
I'm the only one who
Interstellar.
lives in the Star Trek utopia. There's conflict,
there's an unknown region in Star Wars, and you don't want to mess there.
Oh yeah.
So it's kind of spooky.
All right. Another Microsoft one, and this one is I kind of would like to see this because I'm sure you and I can both attest to, and plenty of people watch this can attest. There are times we live in very high stress work environments at times.
Yes, it's a very high strung world out there. Regardless if we work in two separate industries, but it's still high stress to the max.
Especially at different times of the year.
Yeah.
Well, in this next story, Microsoft switches to a 4-day work week and productivity jumps 40%. Now, reading into this article, this is a small subsection of the Microsoft world.
Yeah.
In fact, this was the Microsoft offices in Japan, if I remember right.
Yes.
They switched to a 4-day work week, and productivity increased. And this was kind of a interesting tidbit because there's a lot of other things trying to work on these alternative work weeks because and Americans are really bad for this, is, just working working.
Yeah. But yeah, what this is leaning towards is an evolution of changing the norm of what is considered a 9-to-5 job, because Microsoft isn't the only company that has done this. As reported in this article on ReturnNow.net, a New Zealand trust management company called Perpetual Guardian made headlines in 2018 when it announced a 20% productivity increase during the experiment of the same kind of thing. 4-day work week, 3 days off.
Because the whole thing is this whole work-life balance.
Yeah.
Like me, I work 7 days a week now.
Yeah.
7 days a week with essentially 3 different jobs.
Yeah.
Doing the studio stuff, the stuff at the Airsoft field, and then my normal job that pays the bills.
But yeah, this isn't something new. It's new here. It's new in certain areas, but it's something that they do in Europe a lot more. And you can see the standards of living and the high morale is indifferent. And then a couple of projects I've done in my pro-con class where I analyze different places when it comes to working, in Sweden, and UK, and Australia, and here, you could see the different productivity levels when you actually give people time to breathe. Mm-hmm. It allows workers to be more creative and turn out more intuitive, decision making the company better in the long run. Yeah,
that works. I can go with that.
Yeah, work-life balance.
Yeah, work-life balance. And speaking of work-life balance, because so you got to find your significant other, and then you got to, in case you decide to go that route to where you want to get married and spend the rest of your time together, or cohabitate for the rest of your lives, you got to think about that perfect ring to get.
Gotta get the perfect ring.
And you know what? In honor of the fact Sunday.
Sunday.
Let's talk about how Domino's unveiled a $9,000 diamond encrusted pizza slice engagement ring. Wait, what? Seriously?
Yeah. So
seriously, a diamond encrusted ring with a pizza slice?
Hey, tender and juicy, cheesy, with some meat.
Okay.
But yeah, $9,000 for an engagement ring is pretty pricey. $9,000 for an engagement ring in shape of a Domino's pizza.
Oh,
you must be a fan.
I could definitely tell you there are some people, it's like they're all about that rock and the status that's perceived by the size of the rock.
You can walk around saying, I got pizza on my finger. Shining.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And with that, I think we're done with goofy, crazy news.
Goofy. But that's how the odds and ends work.
That's true. Odds and ends and general news is talk about stories across the internet, so we give our opinions. Our opinions are our own. So with that, I think we'll kind of start working through our contact info. Thanks for hanging out with us this long. I know this is probably one of our longer episodes.
One of them. Yeah.
But that's okay. If this format works out really good, we'll kind of keep it up. So let's start talking contact stuff. So yeah, I've got contact stuff all over the place.
There's a button there, there's a button there, there's a button there. Click.
Oh,
maybe. Click.
I got links. I got funds. So
82, but 3.
Again, shout out to Syrinscape for soundboards and background music. Shout out to Balhack Airsoft for all the great fun and stories that yield from that. And shout out to the community for those people who come out there, new players, old players. It's a great time. And for finding us, Ry, where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram under IncubusTrav. Message me, like me, send a friend request.
And it's up there on the screen for Ry Guy. And you can find me, Scuba, at ScubaCod on Twitter, Instagram, and all that fun stuff. You can, if you like the show and want to support the show, you can go to patreon.com/scubastudio. Patreon members get exclusive access and early access to some of our content, including our 20 or 30 minute Patreon only conversation with including and access to our Discord server, or a higher tier access to the Discord server. Also, if you want to send feedback, we would love some feedback to make the show better, to make this more enjoyable, see if we got to split things off, And that is, you can email us at scubastudio@gmail.com. I think that's it, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, with that, we wish you all a good night. And if you're a Patreon member, stand by. We're going to roll into Patreon here in just a moment.
Peace.